We're live here, and my name is Dale Dougherty with Make Magazine and Maker Faire, and I'm really happy to be joined today with three participants from the Maker Faire 2-Minute Film Festival and one of the judges. I'll introduce the judge first. Jesse Velez has been featured in the magazine. He's been at Maker Faire, wonderful. He's got a book coming out pretty soon, and all in this area. So we'll get him to talk a little bit about that. But we have Derek Kessler, Anna Roure, and David Thulin, who will be sharing their films with us and talking about them. And then kind of as a panel, we'll all interact a bit, and we will welcome you to participate as well. You can turn on you can let us know that you have a question, and we'll turn on your video and you can participate as well. Really happy to have everybody here. There is a chat. You could drop some comments, questions. It's always kind of nice to say, hey, something about yourself, where you are, what your interests are. Kevin, are you going to play that intro video? I don't know. Thought he was. There we go. Fantastic. All right. Well, it might be changing that it's picking up the speaker. Before we get started, I just want to thank Kevin Toyama, who's our books editor, but he came up with this idea for a 2-Minute Film Festival and put it together, organized it, brought it to Maker Faire. We had a little, found a cool little booth that a viewing trailer, basically, to watch them and have people vote on them. And I want to thank our judges, which was Kevin, myself, Jesse, and also Kayte Sabicer, and who is that other? Hannah Chu. So thanks to all of them for participating, taking time to look at it. It was really kind of fun to watch these. But I guess the plan today is we're going to have each of the filmmakers introduce their film. They're each 2 minutes, so we should move pretty quickly, and then we'll get to talking about it. I want to talk to Jesse about the context of, in an era where Hollywood studios are so big and there's so many special effects studios, there's still kind of room for the backyard production and the amateur doing things, and that's really the thing we want to celebrate today. So, Derek, can we start with you? Do you want to introduce your film?
Yeah. So I made the device last year for a film project for one of my classes. I kind of came up with it. I actually came up with it the day before we had a script due, and so it was a very it just kind of came to me, and I shot it over the course of one day, and then we were working on it for about 3 months total, from the script to the final edit. And I think one of the biggest things for me with making it was just getting a large variety of crew members that were from all ages, so that I could help teach younger filmmakers and sort of show them the ropes with by the creation of this film. So about half of the crew is was from underclassmen at my school, and I was a junior.
What's your school?
What?
What's the school?
Viewpoint School. We're in Calabasas, and so yeah. So when I selected the crew, it was mostly underclassmen, and so really, my idea was that it would be a project for people to learn on. Yeah.
Okay, great. right, Kevin, you want to show the film? Okay, great. That's terrific. Anything you want to say about it before we'll come back and talk to you more. But were those other students in the as actors?
No. So those were also other students, but a large amount of the students were a part of the crew on set.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, I don't know how you do it here, but I see some people applauding. That's a very nice thing to do if you like the film. Do the applaud one way or the other. There's some way to do it in the system. Okay, let's thank you. We'll come back to you. I appreciate seeing that.
Thank you.
There we go. We see the floating hands. Anna, you're next. Tell us about your movie.
Hi. My film is a horror film or thriller film. I actually also made it for one of my classes. I currently study in the University of North Carolina School of Arts in the Animatronics program. And so it was for one of our animatronic classes where we had to create an animatronic for a short film. And so I love the horror industry. I love anything related to horror. So I really wanted to make a short horror film. So yeah, my film is about an old lady who switches her soul with this little guy over here just so she could live forever. So yeah.
Oh, that's great. All right. I will say Kevin was not expecting that we would get horror films when he put out the call. I remember he'd see your film as, uh-oh. Anyway, let's show it, Kevin. Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's great, Anna. Well, lots of applause are coming up for you, and we'll come back and talk about your animatronic and how you did those things in a minute. But let's go to David and have him introduce his movie.
Yeah, so I am in school right now, but I did not do mine for a school project. I actually did mine in conjunction with my local makerspace. So I've been working in digital media for a number of years now, and have been working myself freelance doing different projects for about the past year. But I don't have a studio space of my own currently. In fact, I'm in my current what is going to be my studio space. This is the back of a nice up top van that I'm converting into a mobile studio.
Nice.
But at the time that I made this short film, I was depending a lot on my local makerspace, which is at my local library, because of the resource that they have of space and of equipment. So I had already talked with them about doing a project to kind of help promote their space and show people what they can do with it, because I feel like it's a really underutilized resource for makers. And just kind of
Where is this? Where's the library?
It's the Orem Public Library in Orem, Utah, and
Great.
it's an awesome space. It's phenomenal for anybody that's close by, but kind of like the best kept secret of Utah Valley. So I had already talked with them about doing a project, and I was already underway. I had done some recording for it with the sound booth that they have there, and then I found out about the Maker Faire Bay Area competition, and I thought that's the perfect marriage of two things. And so I talked with the people at the library and said, hey, are you okay if we pivot a little bit and dust off this other script that I have and give it a try? And they said, yeah, go for it. And I said, there's only one problem. The deadline is in a month. and they said, well, if you can pull it off. And so we gave it a go. We just gunned for it, and we did it.
I've often said about what the most useful thing that Maker Faire does is give people a deadline.
Well, and that is so fair. I have so many personal projects that are just waiting on the shelf to be finished, but my client projects get done.
Yeah. Well, great. All right, should we take a look at it? And what's the name of it? Your film?
It's called Scavenger, and it's kind of a little animated story about a young person in a sci-fi world that's all pieced together with different odds and ends, trying to find her own way as a maker.
Thank you. That's amazing. That's really great, David. Look at all the applause there. Well, isn't it great to see everything? I believe Kevin, David won the competition. Not to give anything away, but I think the beauty of a festival is to see all the different entries and that they're all different and come from a different place. And let me throw it to Jesse. Do you have any comments on what you thought when you saw these films? You might be on mute.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Kevin we've been working together the last 2 years on the book, and this came up several months ago as an idea he was excited about, and he kind of was asking my opinions about what the festival should look like. And I was like crazy amazed to see the variety of submissions that we got, even with kind of a limited rollout time for it. It still seemed like something people were really interested in, and having them there on site to screen for the attendees was really cool. And it really just fits. To me, there's not really any weird divide between the maker stuff and the filmmaking stuff. It's all part of one big, beautiful art form.
Yeah.
And my whole life is really dedicated to doing that work, but also encouraging people who might not think about using their practical, physical making talents for entertainment. So you guys all did a really great job. It was just cool to see people of a lot of different ages too. You three are probably on the there were older submissions than you as well. But yeah, it's just really great to see a variety of people interested in this stuff. And totally, like you were saying, a deadline is important for motivation for creative endeavors. That is true even for me. I have a crazy long list of personal projects that are not anywhere near done, but we roll out stuff for clients all the time. So if we can help people motivate to finish something that they care about, I think it's totally worth doing in the future.
Yeah. But it's also, I think the great thing about the maker community is it's like there's actually these ideas have to come from you. I mean, like it's something that's in your head. I'm glad you worked on it and made it, and even creating 2 minutes of something. But it's so imaginative. David, your sets and your aesthetic is just really incredibly consistent and interesting. And I think what like you did is all with recycled parts, and then but it's intriguing, like it has my attention from the beginning. And the device, it's saying like what's going on here, and then you just and then Anna's scary thing. It's just what's going to happen. So it's the basic elements of filmmaking is what I'm getting at. And I'm older, so I grew up when I was a kid watching movies like Jason and the Argonauts and things like that had these great effects in them. And you read about them later on, you go, "Wow, man, they were just figuring this out." They were inventing what they were doing. So it's kind of getting back to that spirit of invention here, that I think is at the core of just being creative and doing something in a way here. Jesse, let's. I don't know if you have particular questions for any of the filmmakers, but just like, how'd you do this? I thought with Anna, I'd love to hear you talk about your animatronic. How did you make it move, and what were the mechanisms that you needed to do that, and how did you shoot it as well?
I do have specific questions for everybody if we want to go.
Okay, good. Yeah. Well, let Anna answer my question, then we'll go to your questions. Yeah.
Sure. So my little guy, he's actually really simple. It is one servo on the neck and a servo on his little hip. And he's attached like this, and he moves around like that. So for the assignment, our animatronic had to be fully original, like fully created by us, designed, and then modeled, and then 3D printed, painted, sanded, all that stuff. So when
you made the doll itself, right?
yes, I 3D modeled him on Fusion, and then I added some of the details on ZBrush, and then I 3D printed him, and then I sanded him, primed him, painted him, and added all the gross weathering on
Yeah.
I even like sewed his clothing on. So like his hat and his clothes are actually made out of fabric. So I did really want him to look like an old puppet abandoned in a basement. So I really did want to give him clothing and make it look gross and disgusting. Yeah, so I did design everything. I also programmed it with an Arduino. Everything in the film, we had to do everything in the film. So everything that you see, all the prop works, this fake floor that I made was also made by me. I'm like drew it and then I laser cutted it as well. So yeah, everything from the puppet that I made was fully made by me.
That's great. Jesse?
It's really, really cool. Yeah, I was wondering the same thing about what you had in there moving it. And even just like it's so simple, 2 motors to make it do that little twitch and feel alive. I think it's just really, really lovely how much you can get across with that little bit of move.
I think that's great too. It's also that sometimes people overdo that, right?
Yeah.
And to keep it simple is like more effective.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, really, really great. What is the floor made out of?
Oh, it is the thinnest plywood I could find in my shop. And it actually used to be this color, but I painted it and then I laser cutted it. And then with a Dremel, I actually made more knife cuts. That way it looks more jaggedy and actually cut like a knife. So that was a fun experience. But yeah, there's some LEDs in the back that are turned on right now. That's how I was able to make the glow ritual sigil look. But yeah, the movement of the puppet was straight up just me having sending like a really quick randomizer movement code that I had. That way it looked very jittery and unnatural. And yeah, I was really going for simple. I didn't want to make it too complicated. I was going for it's literally being possessed. So I wanted just jittery, very simple movements.
That's great. That's great.
Very,
Jesse?
very cool. Yeah, I mean, I want to see better pictures of that doll because it's like it's in the dark. But I can tell even just from looking at it here, you did a really beautiful job with all that weathering and everything. We use Autodesk Fusion for all of our animatronic design too. And the fact that you're in an animatronics class is crazy to me because like that was never something I had available or that I think most people do. That's really, really a special opportunity. And this like was a great use of that.
Yeah, our program is super new and I feel like I learned so much. So I was able to make this guy because they taught us ZBrush and Fusion in our first year. So yeah, very lucky that this program is here. And yeah, my professor, Eric Hart, he's the director of this program, is actually here. And hi, Eric. But yeah, it's the program's awesome. I was able to make this robot just because of the class. So yeah,
that's great. That's really great. What kind of movies? What are some of your favorite movies? I want to ask this for everybody because I think it's important about like what's the thing that what are you excited about? It doesn't have to be super obscure either. People feel like they can't pick Star Wars, but that's mine. So yeah, Star Wars is totally game.
I can go first. One of my favorite films is recently actually that came out. I've been obsessed with the new movie Frankenstein that's on Netflix. I love that film. Yeah. I think it became the moment I watched it, it became my new favorite film of all time. So I love it. I love that film so much. It's so good. If you haven't watched it, you should watch it.
Okay, I haven't seen it. It's good.
Yep,
That's
it's
great.
incredible. Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
Derek, let's go to Derek a bit. Derek, what's your favorite film or two?
My favorite film is Super 8. I think it's directed by Steven Spielberg, I'm pretty sure.
J.J. Abrams.
Oh, J.J. Abrams. Okay.
Produced
Yeah.
produced by Spielberg though.
Okay, yeah, but Super 8's my favorite, probably my favorite film. I remember watching that when I was younger, and I mean they're making films in it. I thought that was inspiring. It's got a train in it. I like trains a lot, so I think that was another part that I liked. And I also like the whole like alien plot of it, and it's kind of interesting that that's not it's like happening, but it doesn't feel like that's like the focus of the film. It's like they're trying to make a film while in the background all of this like crazy stuff is happening. So
Yeah.
I really like that movie.
Sounds like life. In general, that's great. So I know, Jesse, you have a question about the device?
Yeah, a couple. I do want to say Super 8 is amazing. Like really, really it's kind of like a love letter to adventure, like genre films. It's clear, like for people who are older, it takes a lot from E.T. and like Goonies, and even stuff that like now is being used in Stranger Things, like putting kids against crazy, impossible odds. And a lot of really great maker stuff in that too. There's an actual train crash, but he also loves model trains and like stuff that's really relatable to a lot of people. But yeah, I loved the way like do you know what a MacGuffin is in a movie?
Yeah.
So that's your whole thing, which is great. It's really cool. Like stories based around an object that people are trying to get or that has questions around it. And the object, what it does doesn't really matter, right? Like you're saying that it's not really about the alien in Super 8. The story is not necessarily about the object people are trying to get. But I was really impressed with your composite shot you did of the building.
Oh, thank you.
Because like really, really good. I've seen.
Explain what you mean by that, Jesse. That's
So it's like halfway through, right? When they move outside and the guy's running away, there's that low angle looking up the hill. And you said you modeled that, or you made that image yourself of the building?
So it's in I did it in Photoshop, and there's actually a building that's somewhat similar to, or it's basically like one layer of the building. I like took a
Copied it.
picture of another building, and then I like layered it up, and then I also added on like the logo. I combined it with the hill, and then I also added some like just color grading to make it match with the background. Yeah, and then I used After Effects to motion track, and so that made it so I didn't have to manually like say where the building's going to be at each frame. So it just like looked like it was on the hill. And then there's a little bit of motion blur as well, so that when the camera tilts down, the building also has the same blur of the camera when it moves. So yeah,
It's really convincing, like really, really
thank
well
you.
done. Because I when I was in school, we were doing like earlier After Effects stuff with like rotoscope tracking and all that, and it's exhausting. So
Yes. Oh my gosh.
yeah, I wanted to point that out. That was really great. And then I also love that like mounted shot of the case view, basically. So
Oh
like
yeah.
yeah, I thought that was really, really cool.
So that shot, I mean, that shot was he wasn't actually running in that shot. So we were actually on top of the same hill that he's running up. And so what I did is I had him I had the camera super low, and I had us in a spot where there was no background except for the sky. And I was pretty lucky that the sky was like clear on that day. And so what that just allowed me to rotoscope easier. And so basically I rotoscoped out the sky while he was running in place. And then I layered that on top of a video of him, or a video we took of him, or just a video we took of us walking with like the background that was near him. And so that was like, and then I sped that up and then added motion blur, things like that. And so I basically layered him running in place with the background with all the trees and stuff. And
Really
the
cool.
reason we did this is because it's too hard to actually see what, like, that he's holding the box if we're actually moving the camera with him. Like, it was just, we tried it and it just didn't work. And so we sort of decided on the set, we were like, well, let's shoot him running in place so the camera can be steady.
Really, really clever.
Did you have to reshoot a lot of things?
Actually, there's a little bit of reshooting, but we never went back to any of the outdoor scenes. But I had to green screen the ending, the final shot. And I also the shot where he holds an iPad and he's basically like tracking where he's going. So that was also in front of a green screen. And then I used the like corner pin effect on After Effects to basically like put like a Google Maps image on the screen. And then so those two shots were added in later. And then the second scene where he goes and he steals the box from like the lab, that was also reshot. Just because I wasn't like, after watching the film for the first version, there's just something about that scene that it just didn't feel right. And so we shot it again. We changed a few things, changed some lighting around, and I think it turned out a lot better.
It's terrific. Do you imagine this being a longer piece than 2 minutes, or was this just your whole idea? Just you did, you expressed it and you're on to something else?
Yeah. Well, the like full version of it is 3 minutes long. It doesn't really change the story too much. In one version, which is actually the version that I sort of wanted to keep, originally, was instead of shooting the building in the end, he basically takes the device, he throws it in the water thinking it's gonna like destroy it, but then it like floats down the river and some like random passerby picks it up, and then now they have the power to use it. And so that was really the ending I liked, but it just didn't make as much sense with the shots we had. But I decided to move on and work on more projects just so I could focus on new genres.
No, that's great. Let's turn to David again and see what Jesse has any questions for David.
Yeah, David, it's spectacular. It's like really, really amazing. It's just like really visually beautiful and cohesive. Like feels very finished, and kind of unique. I haven't really seen that like combo of like the papercraft, like low frame rate, stop motion type stuff. But then you have a lot of like moving light elements that are actually happening in the scene too, which is just really, really cool.
Thank you.
And also that you could do it at a makerspace is great. Like makerspaces in concept are amazing, and a lot of them I think don't get used really as much as they should. And the fact that you had that support and physical space to do something like that is really, really cool. I didn't read through all the credits. Did you do the drawing?
I did, yeah. So my background, first and foremost, I guess I call myself a multidisciplinarian because I've done a lot of different stuff. I grew up doing visual art. I have a sister who's a professional illustrator, and my mother graduated in graphic design. So that's something I grew up doing, is just drawing my whole life. And I actually, my first like dream was to work at Pixar someday. So when I knew that a Pixar executive was judging, I was like, oh. But yeah, so I love the animation, and that's something I wanted to do on it for sure, was for it to be an animated film. But yeah, I also have some background in theater, and then of course from theater I ended up in film, and I'm also a puppeteer, so I can appreciate the
Wow.
animatronic side of things and stuff, and did a little bit of paper puppetry actually in the film. So like when she reaches out and hits the top of the robot friend to turn off like the alarm in the beginning, that is actually me puppeting a little mini paper arm, and then I slowed down the frame rate to match the rest of the animation. So just little tricks and fun little fiddling like that, just to get the story that you want. It was a lot of fun.
Did you keep all those
Great.
cutouts? I'm sure you did, but
Well, so one of the things actually, it's kind of one of the tricks of the movie is that all of the line work of the cutouts, including all of the animation, it is frame by frame animation that I did, but it's all digital, and I superimposed it onto physical cutouts. And so I do have actually a little drawer that still has all the blank cutouts of like all the people in the marketplace and stuff. I do have also set pieces. So I'm lucky enough to have a huge group of friends who are also really capable creators, and I reach out to them for resource when I can. And especially with the time crunch of this, I was like, we got together for like a 3-day weekend and just busted out this set, pulled all of our junk together, and like the spaceship at the end was literally made from the Wendy's coffee cup my friend showed up with. Once he was done, I was like, hey, can I use that? Because I need a body for this ship, So, but like my sister did this little fountain, and it's meant for like a mochi ball or something, but she painted it and did little graffiti on the side, and like added a bubble blower stem, and then we lit it from the bottom with just a dollar store LED, So it's just getting creative and seeing the opportunity and stuff. That was another reason I wanted to do the film. I had the idea inspired by like old Hollywood, I guess. I don't know, like Star Wars, ILM, and Star Trek, and all the old sci-fis that just used what they had, Luke's lightsaber is the handle of an old camera flash, and all the droids are just like random storage bins and things put together. I loved that. I loved the idea that you could see the visual art potential in something that's kind of just a piece of junk, but you could bring that out and you could use it to tell a story. And so that was one of the other things I wanted to do, and as an homage in a lot of ways to the makers who do that type of thing, and who use that creativity to tell the wonderful stories that we still watch and still enjoy, and in my opinion still look like $1 million. But
yeah, no, it's really, really great. I was super impressed with
Yeah.
that.
What do you do next after that? Is that like a set of techniques you're going to use to tell another story?
Yeah. So I'm currently working on kind of some other not random projects. I write. So I worked this summer as a typewriter poet, actually out in the public writing poetry for people. And so I'm publishing a book, a memoir and poetry collection of my experience this year being a typewriter poet and getting to interact with people and their stories. But I'm doing paper cut illustrations for that. And then I have I'm trying to decide now between a couple other scripts of short films that I want to do with more of the paper cutout animation, because I loved it. I had done some illustrations in that style, which is how I thought to do the animation for this film, in that style. But I loved taking it to animation and doing a really full-bodied visual story like that with it. So I'm wanting to do more of it in the future. Yeah.
Yeah. What software did you use?
So I animated the whole thing in Procreate on my iPad, and then I composited everything together and did my editing and color correction and everything in DaVinci Resolve. That's what I use professionally for my video work, and so those are kind of the tools that I'm familiar with. But I think I did end up using a little bit of Photoshop and stuff for some of the background kind of matte painting type things and whatnot. But yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
We had some. That was one of the questions you had. I think each of you have answered kind of, but if you wanted to talk at all about your tools, there was a judge. What editing system did each of you use? And I think Derek answered that. I don't know if Anna, you talked a little bit about using Fusion and and Arduino and stuff. But how did you do the film editing?
I edited everything on Premiere Pro. So like the eye scene, where my eyes turn red and blue, that was also on Premiere. Yeah, so I didn't really use any other. When it comes to editing, I just did it all in Premiere.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Well, let me say, actually, Anna, there was another question here. Do you control your servos wirelessly in your Evolve?
No, funnily enough, there's in the film, where when the puppet starts spazzing out, there's actually a hole in the center of the ritual where I actually hide the wires going through. So in the back, you can actually see where the wires come through, and that's where the wires then hide through. So yeah, they were not wirelessly; they were straight up just hidden in the hole and in the middle of the ritual.
Okay, great. Just a question, because it always interests me. Like you joined an animatronics program at school, but things like were they teaching Arduino, or are these things you had to kind of learn on your own to do it? Servos and all that.
Yeah, so I have a bachelor's in robotics engineering, so all
great.
the programming, mechanical, and electrical stuff I already had experience in. My biggest weakness was actually like the storytelling and the arts of animatronics, and depending on what background you come from, at least to the animatronics program, you can like focus on like learning a lot about the engineering. They do teach you how to program things with Arduino here in the program, but you can then later focus on what you would like to do in the world of animatronics. So if you want to work with the engineering side, you do a lot of that in our production projects and stuff. But yeah, they do teach you a lot, literally everything from designing to the story to then some of the engineering to like the figure finishing of all the animatronics. So yeah, you get a lot of everything in this program.
That's great. Derek, you wanted to talk about your prop a bit and show it to us?
Oh yeah, so this is the prop I used. So it's got has two flashlights. So there's one like right here, and there's one right here. And then I put like a red like gel on it to make it red. And then there's a switch right here, so you can turn it on and off. You can't really see it because it's pretty bright right now.
I can kind of see it. Yeah.
But yeah, so I basically it's just I took the two flashlights out. They're like got it from a DIY store. I took the two flashlights and then I wired them together, and then I wired them to the switch as well, because I didn't want this always running, so I could save battery and all that. So yeah, and then I didn't use any programs to design this. It's all just like stuff from the DIY store. Like
Yeah.
this piece was a soap bottle, and then everything's spray painted white. This is like the top of like a cocktail shaker. And then this is something that like organizes. I think it organizes wires. Yeah. So just a bunch of things hot glued together. Yeah, and hot
That's
glued and
great.
spray painted.
Yeah. Very nice. Let me just say that to the people watching, thank you for being here. If you have a question, there's a Q&A slot if you want to just type something in. If you'd actually like to, not sure how you let us know, maybe in chat, if you'd like to have us turn on your camera and you want to ask. I wanted to invite Eric Hart if he's willing to come on. He's on as instructor, and maybe he can tell us a few things about that program. But really, anybody wants to join us, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, while we're waiting for those, I just want to say, like, my favorite thing about all of these is just like it showcases the diversity of skills that people who are interested in this stuff have. I think we all are. The commonality at Maker Faire for me is that I'm around people who really see the world around them, and are interested in how stuff works. And we have a hard time sitting still, all of us. And my like one-liner for people when they ask how I ended up in special effects is that I have too many interests. So it's like, it is the right direction, and it really is not a single direction. Like we were talking about theater and video editing, graphic design, like all that stuff can be put to work for entertainment. So and getting to like the empowering, the self like empowerment you get from putting something together that then becomes something else is just really special. And I think it's important. I think it's a very like foundational human trait, because as kids we all play with Legos and blocks and crayons and whatever else, and at some point somebody puts us in a box, right, and tells us, yo, you don't get to do that anymore, that's what artists get to do. But you did it as a kid, I think you should keep doing it as an adult, even if it's just for your own sanity. It's really, really important.
Yeah, well said. Anna Chipwood is asking, what school do you go to? I think you mentioned it, but I forget. It was North Carolina something.
Yeah, University of North Carolina School of Arts. That's my
Arts.
college.
Okay. All right. Well, there's William's asking, do any of the filmmakers plan to enter again next year or in the future? We'd love to have you back. Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, that's great. I have a question for you, because we debated it, but is 2 minutes a good length, or would it be more or less in your sense? It's kind of arbitrary, but I think one of Kevin's ideas was that we could all watch them quickly.
Yeah.
And it's kind of nice. Any thoughts on that?
To speak to that a little bit, I know for me, it's been a wild year for me. There's been a lot of stuff going on, and the 2 minutes, that month that I had really was kind of the only time that I could dedicate to doing a passion project like this. And at that point in time, luckily I think things are freeing up a little bit more, which is why I'm hoping to get the next thing in the works. But yeah, I also loved the challenge of 2 minutes. To try to tell a story in that amount of time really forces you to be creative and economical. And so I really loved it, actually.
Yeah, that's great. Can you talk about how many hours it took you to do it? I mean, you said like you put a month into it. Like, is that, have you kind of estimate how long it took?
I haven't totaled hours. I really wish that I had. But I know that, I mean, like the timeline of things, I gave myself, the way that I broke it down, I gave myself a week to do writing, right? I had a rough script. But I wanted to have a final script, and I wanted to have a storyboard done by the end of week 1. And so I met that goal. And then my second week was for the rest of pre-production, essentially. And that included that we started filming about halfway through week 2, which is insane. Or no, sorry, that would be week 3. Okay, getting my timeline scrambled. Week 1 was writing. Week 2 was pre-production. So we started building halfway through week 2. And just busted things out with the weekend. That was like 3 days where we got together like every evening and just sunk time into it. And all together, I'm sure the man hours were kind of ridiculous. We're up burning the midnight oil, getting things done. And then that third week was when we shot everything. And then week 4 was shot everything. I started animation and compositing halfway through that week where we shot on the shots that were ready. And then I animated and edited through the rest of week 4. So that was the timeline.
That's kind of interesting. I think that's more important than how long it took you. It's like how your process looked like. And Anna, did you start with a script for this, or did you kind of start with the doll?
I kind of a little bit of both. At least for my film, I really wanted to have a doll in it. I really wanted to go for creepy doll. So then I made a script revolving the doll, and then I made the design for the doll. So yeah, I definitely made the script first, but I really wanted to include a doll in my film.
Derek, how about you? Did you start with a script?
I think, yeah, I started with a script. For me, that was the hardest part, was the script. It was really the first time I'd written a script for my films, I guess. But it went through a lot of changes. Originally, the story was told out of order. And then there was also the actual device was a later addition to it. And the box wasn't going to be opened originally. So there's a lot of that took the most amount of time. But I mean, my first idea, my first thought of the film was a man running through a forest with a briefcase in his hand, and he's running from someone, but you don't know who it is. And then it would kind of cut back and forth, and you'd slowly start to figure out who it was. And then that morphed into the final film.
So it was a chase.
What?
A chase.
Yeah,
One
so that
person
was
chasing another. No?
I was kind of thinking of The Fugitive when I was sort of coming up with this. I run cross country, and so I was on a run with my friends, and we were running just on this trail, and I was like, what if there was a film about someone running away from people? And then I didn't have in my mind the backstory, and I feel like I was like, wait, that should be how the film works, where we kind of figure out the backstory. But then that was kind of one of the challenges of editing to 2 minutes, is that it's not as easy to switch the timeline around, I guess. So for me, I was like, well, the story wasn't very clear unless it was in order. Yeah.
Very nice. Jesse, how do you? I mean, some of your commercial work, you're not getting. You're seeing a script, perhaps, but
not always.
Does it happen before that? They come. We're thinking of this.
Every project's pretty different. There's a couple of things I thought about through all of those discussions we just had. A lot of the time, we start with concept art instead of a physical prop. Or maybe we do like character maquettes, sculptures that like get the idea across. It's really just an impressionistic, like, this is what we want this to feel like. But a lot of our favorite like tentpole movies started with artwork before a script was written, or maybe in tandem while a script was being written. C-3PO as a character was not fully formed. George Lucas knew he wanted a robot that looked like the Metropolis robot, and Ralph McQuarrie did paintings of that. And then once they cast Anthony Daniels, he looked at that artwork and he came up with a character that he felt like fit that image. So I think that back and forth between the like, here's an object or a painting or something that we are trying to discover with actors and editors and everything. It really is the best when it's collaborative and pushing back and forth and inspiring each other. Yeah. And the other thing about I wanted to say about the 2-minute requirement, I'm really happy we stuck with that. Not just because it makes it practical for us all to watch it, but I think it's harder to tell a story in a short format. There's a lot of lazy filmmaking happening right now with long format, like shows that take place over, like, I don't know, 6 episodes that are each 2 hours long. As amazing as they can be, I think that the art form is in the editing of like, what do you need to tell a story quickly? One of my favorite filmmaking quotes is from Orson Welles. And he said, the enemy of art is the absence of limitations. And I think that really just informs why there's a lot of bad movies right now, because directors and studios and executives don't like to make decisions early on in the process because they can always change stuff later. CG and like post-processing has made it really easy to change things in post-production, and it makes it easy to defer decision making to later in the process, but that just makes the whole product weaker overall. So as different as that might seem, thinking about like a $300 million movie and a 2-minute short, like being able to make those decisions in a 2-minute short is what makes a really good giant movie.
Yeah. And I think this almost quality of independent filmmaking, but amateur, being able to make your own decisions is really important. I think, or at least it's like an author writing a book, it's just sort of like you decide what the words are and what the sentences are. And I think, crafting these things is wonderful. Well, Jesse, thank you so much for hanging with us today and talking about the film that you're doing. I want to thank our guests and filmmakers, Derek, Anna, and David. Just really fun to see your work. And I don't know if you're out in the audience and want to applaud one more time for them. I think they would appreciate it. But I really appreciate what you brought to this, and look forward to more of your work. There you go. Look at those hands rising. I think that's kind of fun to see. All right. Well, thank you all. Thank you particularly for the audience, about 60 people live, and we'll record this and put it up, and more people will watch it. I hope it inspires more of you to just go out and make a film. And I love, basically, this in this presentation, you saw techniques and ideas and methods and tools, all are accessible. DIY is a word that I think Derek used. Just that's a big part of this is just figure out how to do it yourself. All right, thank you all for participating. Thank you for the guests, and see you next time.